everyone, Karen Cecilia here. I truly hope that you are, paying attention to those videos I'm sending out. Two or three videos I tell you I'm going to send out about pedophiles. I'm reading from an international point of view, just to bring bear to how these people are protected by society and institution. The story I want to bring you today is well documented. It's brought to you by the inspirationalist. But you probably know the story just as much as I do, but I still want to bring it to you. It's the story of Harvey Weinstein. You all heard about him and know how he ended up in prison. But I don't know if all of us know the one woman that has been telling the world for 20 years that Harvey Weinstein was a bad guy. One woman, Rose McGowan, is her name. And in 1997, at the Sundance Film Festival, Rose accused Harvey Weinstein of raping her and forcing her in oral sex. That was about January. Sundance is in January. Then August, that same year, they came to an agreement. She got a lawyer. She wanted to report it. The lawyer told her, she can't report it because it's not going to reach anywhere. It's a futile attempt, the lawyer told her. And she accepted the settlement of $100,000. And that was that. The check was for $100,000. The contract that she signed included a confidentiality clause, which she then later said, not never so. There was no confidentiality, nothing. But it was a standard language contract. Sign here, don't talk, go away quietly. It was 1997. Rose McGowan was 23 years old. She had gone to Sundance Film Festival with a rising career and a bright future in front of her. She left with money, a legal agreement, and a story she wasn't allowed to tell. But she told it anyway. Not once, not quietly, not when it became safe or popular or profitable to do so. For 20 years, 2 full decades, Rose McGowan stood in rooms, on stages, in interviews, and she pointed directly at the Hollywood industry that had mastered the art of protecting predators while punishing the people that they hurt. Dwayne Vaz and the PMP come to mind. Dayton Campbell and the PMP comes to mind. Protecting predators and sexual abusers and pedophiles while punishing the people that they hurt. Rose named the machinery, the agents who looked away, the lawyers who wrote the settlements, the executives who kept the secret, because the secret made money. Nobody wants their secret to be out. This is how they make their money. This is Harvey Weinstein. He's the biggest thing in Hollywood. Everything is Harvey Weinstein. I mean, Obama's big daughter interned with him 1 year. Rose described the system so efficient at silencing victims that it ran like clockwork, generation after generation. A system mired in secrecy and protecting a sexual predator, a rapist, and they all knew. Every single one of them knew. She wasn't whispering in private therapy sessions or anonymous online forums. She was shouting in the middle of Hollywood where everyone pretended not to hear. And the industry, the Hollywood industry, they didn't investigate. Once again, Dayton Campbell and Dwayne Vaz and the last one named now, the one from down at Trelawney, Victor Wright. But let's look at Dayton Campbell and Dwayne Vaz. They're not investigating. They're reacting. And that's what Hollywood did. While everyone pretended not to hear what Rose McGowan was saying, they didn't investigate it. They reacted. And they reacted with a fierce backlash. Subtle but fierce backlash against the whistleblower. Roles that had been offered to Rose before quietly disappeared. Auditions stopped coming. Doors that had been opened slowly, carefully, started to close. Phone calls went unreturned. Her name became something people didn't want attached to their projects. And when media coverage came, oh, and that was rare when Rose was shouting. The focus of the media wasn't on what she was saying. It was on how she was saying it. Everybody was complicit. Institutions protect sexual predators, rapists, and pedophiles. They do. So when the coverage came, a very rare coverage of Rose McGowan said, it was not alone. It was how she was saying it. She was too loud, too angry, too emotional, too difficult. Because the story the industry wanted to tell wasn't about abuse of power and sexual abuse and rape. No, man, they wanted to tell a different story. It was about a story about an unstable woman who couldn't let go, who was bitter, who was damaging her own career by refusing to move on. Oh, they framed it. They framed it, and the media was complicit in it. Because this is how institutions protect themselves. Not with a single dramatic act of censorship, not with threats or violence or obvious suppression. Suppression was there, but subtle. With 1,000 small acts. That's how they protect themselves. A phone call not returned. A role that was hers has been recast. A headline that says, quote unquote, troubled actress instead of whistleblower. A meeting where a raised eyebrow would hold a quiet conversation about whether she's worth the risk. Do we want to cast her because whether she's worth the risk? The message was always the same, delivered in 100 different ways. This is what happens when you don't stay quiet. This is what happens. You're attacked. You're vindictive. You are bitter. You are wicked. You are a liar. Rose McGowan watched her career evaporate in real time. Not because she wasn't talented. She was very talented. She's very talented. Not because audiences didn't want to see her, but because an industry that she had spent years warning about, a man that was sexually and using his power to sexually abuse women, they decided that she was a problem. Not the predator, not the rapist. She was a problem because she was speaking too loud. She shouldn't be talking about it. But she kept speaking. In 2015, she was still speaking. In 2016, she was still speaking. And then, October 2017 arrived. Investigative journalists at the New York Times and the New Yorker published what Rose McGowan had been saying into the void for 2 decades. Now, Ronan Farrow and Jody Cantor are 2 of the best investigative journalists that America has. And they didn't discover a new story. They started publishing it, but it wasn't a new story that they discovered. They gave her story now the institutional credibility it needed to be heard. Dozens of women came forward. At one point, there were 48. Then there was 56. Even Kate Blanchett mentioned something. And their accounts match hers, almost word for word. The patterns that she had described They were they were the ones who now describing those very same patterns. The hotel rooms, the assistants who disappeared when they came, the settlements, the silence, all of it. The lawyers, all of it. Confirmed by person after person after person after person. Boy, the Me Too movement spread across continents and industries within days. Millions of voices saying what Rose McGowan had been saying alone for 20 years. Harvey Weinstein, the name that she had been repeating into the void since 1997, became a global symbol of everything that had been wrong, of everything that had been hidden and protected for too long. He was convicted in 2020. He's in prison now. And Rose McGowan's career never came back. I think she sued them, but she lost. But it never came back. You see, that's a part of the Me Too movement story that sometimes skips over. Because movements like Me Too, they need clean narratives. The hero speaks, the world listens, change happens, justice prevails, somebody gone to jail. That's it. But the person who strikes the match while it's still running, while everyone thinks that she's imagining the storm, that's the person that pays a price that the victory does not erase. She lost it all. She was a lone person standing with that matches, lighting it in the middle of the storm, and everybody think that she's imagining it. And it doesn't erase that. The Me Too movement, him going to prison, all of that. That person pays a price. That victory does not erase that price. Rose McGowan was right in 1997. She was right in 2005. She was right in 2015. She was right the entire time. But being right didn't protect her. It cost her everything. And then the world moved on. And to celebrate the moment, it finally started listening. She was speaking for 20 years. The world just catch up. They celebrate. The moment that they start listening, that's the time that they celebrate. We got him. He's in prison now. Yeah, me too. While she remained exactly where speaking the truth had left her. Outside. Unemployable. Vindicated, but not restored. Sit on that for a minute. Because there's something uncomfortable that doesn't fit neatly into inspirational quotes or empowerment narratives, that not every person who tells the truth lives to see it validated. Not every warning comes with the luxury of perfect timing, sympathetic audiences, or institutional backing. Vindicated, but not restored. That's something to think on. Some people carry the weight of being right before the world is ready. Some people do carry that weight. You're right, but the world not ready to say you're right yet. So they carry it alone at full cost, without recognition and without applause. Rose McGowan didn't wait for permission from the Hollywood industry that betrayed her. She didn't soften her story to make powerful people comfortable. Oh no. She didn't modulate her tone to make her truth more palatable. She paid for that with her career, her reputation, and years upon years, 2 decades of public ridicule. But she never stopped speaking. And eventually the world heard her. That's a kind of courage that doesn't always get the ending it deserves. It's also the kind that the world depends on more than the world wants to admit. That kind of courage. The world depends on that kind of courage. Some truths just need someone brave enough, or angry enough, or stubborn enough to say them before anyone is ready to listen, before it's safe, before there's a movement to stand behind, before there are hashtags and think pieces and award ceremonies and red carpet and all. Some truths need someone brave enough, or angry enough, or stubborn enough. Rose McGowan was that person. She stood alone in an empty room, shouting at an industry that had decided that her silence was worth more than her truth. She kept shouting. She kept shouting when her bank account emptied. She kept shouting when she lost her home. She kept shouting when her debts were called in. She kept shouting when the rolls stopped coming. She kept shouting when people called her crazy, bitter, know those words very well, unstable, vindictive. She kept shouting because she was none of those things. She was just right. And she said so over and over and over again until finally, after 2 decades, enough people listened that the ones who weren't listening couldn't pretend anymore that they're not hearing. At the end of the day, somebody asks, why did Rose McGowan kept speaking? But the question worth asking isn't why Rose McGowan kept speaking. The question that is worth asking is why it took the rest of the world 20 years to hear her. And the answer to that is simple. Institutions, churches, political organizations, social movements, all of them, they protect each other. The rich, the powerful, the well-connected, at all costs. They protect each other. Rose McGowan is an activist now. Doesn't do any more acting of God. She has been offered roles since Harvey went to prison, but so she's not going back over there. Because there were women who could easily back her up. Nobody did. Because women are our worst enemies in things like these. The worst. I'll probably bring you a piece later on about a feminist movement back in the 70s. Where one of them was saying that, women are the one who makes other women worst. Or something to that effect. Rose McGowan told the truth for 20 years while the world called her crazy. And then everyone finally listened. And her career still never came back. Big shout out to Rose McGowan. Thank you all so much for listening. God bless you all. Stay safe, everybody, and keep your children safe, please.